This movie is about a girl named Raquel who belongs to a poor family, but her neighbors are extremely rich, who owns a big company called Alpha 3 that was considered to be a big firm, like Tesla today. The owner of the company have 3 sons, Apollo, Ares and Artemis. Ares was Raquel's favorite, and she used to like him and search about him on internet. So the movie begins with a Wi-Fi problem. That day Wi-Fi of Hidalgo brothers stops working. While Raquel's Wi-Fi is on and nearby, Apollo jumps through the wall of Raquel's house to be able to use the password and eventually connect his laptop to her Wi-Fi. This was told by his brother, Ares. Raquel looks at him through the window and tell him to stop, but he doesn't seem to listen, but eventually he goes away. Next day in the school, Raquel meets her best friend, Yoshi. Her friend Yoshi loves her, but isn't able to tell her about his feelings. In the next scene, Raquel is in a playground and sneak peek Ares while he is working out. Later, she stalks Ares and end up in a jungle. In about a minute, Ares shows up and tell her that he knows that she likes him because he hacked her computer earlier and saw his photos all over her laptop. In hesitation, she tells Ares her feelings about him. She tells him that it's too dark, she is scared, and wants him to walk her home. Ares agrees, but with a condition that she will have to kiss him first. She hesitates, but agrees in the end. His lips almost touched hers, but he stops and starts walking until they reach their home. After finishing dinner with her mother, she goes back to her room to find out Ares sneaking inside. Raquel insists him to go home, but he knew that she likes him and won't call her mother on him. He makes her sit on a chair and slowly starts kissing her beautiful legs. She internally wants him to continue doing the act of seduction. Raquel is very aroused by him doing this act, but Ares sneaks out of her room through the window. Later, Raquel is working at her job and interacting with his best friend, Yoshi. Suddenly, she nervously encounters Ares approaching him. He invites her to his brother's new club that's opening same night and tells her that she can bring any of her friends. At the party, Raquel and Ares can be seen together. While Ares is sitting on the chair, Raquel is sitting on him. Ares is very aroused and slowly goes towards her face to kiss her, but she doesn't let it happen and leaves aroused Ares behind. Looks like she did it because Ares did the same with her earlier. Later, she meets Apollo in the club. Apollo was never allowed to drink by his older brother, but Raquel intentionally make him drink. As a result, he ends up being very drunk. Drunk Apollo shows Raquel's friend Daniela that he likes her. He picks Raquel's phone and throws it away from the car. They can't leave drunk Apollo at his house, so they decide to let him sleep in Raquel's room that night. Suddenly, Ares shows up and he also decides to stay. Now Raquel has no choice but to sleep in the middle of 2 brothers. Ares slowly uses his magic fingers and things start to happen. Raquel looks like she is on top of the world and enjoy every bit of it. Next morning at her school, she tells her friend about last night's incident. She finds out that Ares gifted her a brand new phone since his brother broke her phone last night, but she does not want to accept it and walk to his home to return it. There, she finds Claudia, who tells Raquel that Ares is waiting for her in game room. She went inside and discover Ares talking to a girl on his phone. She silently leave her phone and start to walk away, but Ares grabs her back in his arms and slowly makes a move and start to kiss her. They end up making out. After the deed, Ares tells her to leave, but Raquel seems hurt and goes back to her house in anger. Meanwhile, Ares finds her necklace in his room, and Raquel goes back to his house to get it. This time, Claudia takes her to the backyard, where Ares again talking to girls, including many other friends. There, they play a game of truth or dare. Ares grabs her and throws themselves in the swimming pool. Since she wants her locket back, Ares takes her to his room and gives back her necklace, while she curiously asks Ares what does he thinks of her. While Ares, not missing any opportunity, doesn't take too long to slowly start to kiss her, and their adventure starts again. Later, while Raquel is sleeping, Ares goes outside and looks a bit stressed out. While Ares is outside, Claudia tells Raquel to leave the house, and once again, she ends up angry. At night, she watches a movie with Yoshi, but seems uninterested. They join Daniela's party, where Daniela even kisses Apollo, but leave him right after and walk away with her friend. Surprisingly, Raquel yet finds Ares kissing another girl. Raquel is emotional, while feeling very hurt, leaves the party. Later that night, Yoshi and Raquel are sitting with each other, talking. Suddenly, the pool start to pour out dirt water, and they leave. Raquel is walking towards her home, very drunk, but Ares arrives at the location. He takes Raquel home safely. Raquel is still emotional and asks Ares to tell her a story before sleep. Immediately, he begins telling her his own story. While Raquel is barely conscious and drunk, Ares is explaining her that he always loved her, but can't tell her, because love will make him weaker. Next day, his dad tells him to focus on study and stay away from girls. Later, Raquel is sitting in a library with Yoshi. Ares approaches her and asks her on a date. At first she is a bit hesitant, but later agrees to go on a date. Yoshi encounters this incident, and they argue. Yoshi tells her that Ares is just using her and walk away frustrated. Later on, they decide to go on a costume party, where Raquel is a witch. Both go on the top of Ares' father's company tower, and after having nice dinner, they make love. Now, they are really a couple and makes out whenever the hell they want. But Ares' father get to know about all the good deeds happening. His father ends up scolding him in front of his family. Later, Ares decide to get a job at Raquel's workplace and try to make money for his studies on his own. But his company's rat tells Ares' older brother about this. Next week, Raquel gets ready to go to a company party with Ares. While they are talking, she is shocked to see her mother working as a waitress in the same party. She leaves the party immediately. Ares get to know the truth that his older brother intentionally invited her mother to be a waitress in their party, so that they both break up from their relationship. Raquel is at home and is very sad, whereas Ares is also showing sad emotions, because now he is really in love with her. She goes to schools and encounters an incident where Apollo is asking Daniela for prom, but she denies it. Later, Ares meets Raquel at her workplace. He asks her to go on prom with her, but she sadly says no. Meanwhile, Raquel isn't happy about it and cries at home thinking of Ares. Her mother tells her that if she loves Ares, then go and talk to him about it. She goes to home of Ares and tries to talk to him, but see him sitting with his family. While she shouts that she loves Ares, but since his family is sitting with him, he decides to ignore everything. Later, broken Raquel goes to prom all alone. Ares arrives at the party as well, but does not meet Raquel and meets Yoshi instead. He takes Yoshi near the swimming pool and tells him to punch his face as hard as he can because he cheated on Raquel. It doesn't take too long for Yoshi to turn into the One-Punch Man and knocks Ares out. As a result, Ares gets thrown into the swimming pool, which contains less water than usual, thus making Ares unable to escape it. Little did they realize that Ares was extremely allergic to chlorine. Now, Yoshi goes back to Raquel and describe her of what happened. Raquel goes to the pool and finds Ares totally unconscious. They call the ambulance. His condition becomes very critical, that he admits in ICU. Luckily, a few days later, he successfully recovers from the accident. Ares goes back home, and his family loves him even more. His father, his older brother, start to let go of their ego. They send him to medical school, but Ares keeps his distance from Raquel. She writes a book about her story, and in no time, it gets very famous, loved by millions of people. Later, she can be seen laying on her bed and texting Ares, but as of surprise, Ares is looking through her room window already. They once again do the deed in the end.